All right, and a good morning here. I accidentally started this at 10:05, but guess what? I'm here at 10, so I'm going to hang out here with my peeps here and just let you know that this is an exciting time to be here. And once again, got the morning workout in, got my first set of chores done, and of course, here's the second part of the day. And you are the 10-minute or so break that I take every single day, well, that I'm live, to come and sit down and talk with you for a few minutes about life, if you will, current news cycles. And of course, today, of course, we're talking about living here in the good old US of A, right? Tomorrow is the 4th of July, extremely important day in American history. Most people celebrate it by parades, fireworks, cookouts. But the bottom line is that is an extremely important day for no other reason then we celebrate what makes us uniquely American. And if you're part of the Anglosphere, whether you're in England or Canada or Australia, you all have your days of recognition of celebration for your country's birth, birthright. England, you have a very complicated history. Canada, less complicated, as is ours, is less complicated. But the fact is that we celebrate our days of what makes us uniquely, in this case, what makes us uniquely American on the 4th of July. And it's just a glorious day and always one of my favorite days. That and St. Patrick's Day, believe it or not, because St. Patrick's Day is just silly. And I'm maybe a little bit Irish. And I guess what everybody's a little Irish on St. Patrick's Day, right? Mm. Oh, yeah, there we go. A little bit of coffee here to get you going in the morning. And of course, maybe it's a perfect time to have the coffee instead of having it first thing in the morning. Maybe 10 o'clock might be my new time to have my first cup of coffee then. Mm, right straight out of the Keurig. With that, I'm Brian here, and this is the Economic Report. And today, we're talking about the big, beautiful bill. This is what President Trump had called the legislation that he had proposed, what the next budget was going to look like, and I was really, really kind of important in many different ways to kind of carry out what his economic plan is. Hey, welcome. This is the Economic Report. We're talking big, beautiful bill today and anything else. I respond to all comments in the chat. So, good morning to you. And I love to hear from you. A like and a subscribe does wonders for this channel, but it's always great to connect with people just like you. So, yesterday, hey, Rick Lane, good morning. What's up to you, pal? Welcome here to the Economic Report. I've got a bunch of people here already joining. We're talking big, beautiful bill, but of course, everything we threw out here is talking 4th of July, so that'll be the second part of the show. But we are talking big, beautiful bill, and this is President Trump's signature bill that is gone through the House and gone through the Senate. Uh, Go ahead, Rick, fire away. If it's appropriate, I'll answer. What is your stance on? Well, I'll tell you what. Uh, I think the Declaration of Independence, which we're talking about, says life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? And with that, that's about as far as I'll go with that because, everybody in this country lives their life. Everybody in this country is able to pursue their happiness uh, in their own way. And with that, that's about where I stand on almost every single issue out there, right? I can't be any wiser than our founding fathers here. And beyond that, I'll stick with that story and drink a cup of coffee in the meantime. But if we're talking about some important things here, well, everything's important, but of course, today we're talking big, beautiful bill. Really important stuff for no other reason than we do have a kind of an economic blueprint of what the next 4 years should look like. I have some concerns, of course, and one of those major concerns happens to be the fact that it does add like $4 trillion to the U.S. budget, and that's the deficit, of course, and that deficit, it's not a good thing. We're already into the 30 some trillion dollars, so the fact is that If we have bumped things up another $4 trillion, well, that's crazy stuff, right? Um, that being the case, I would throw this out there to you that I think there's a bigger plan going on, and I can only say that I just see some other things in the tea leaves going on. For instance, today the jobs report is coming out, and the jobs report will really drive a lot of other things. It'll tell you about the health of the American economy, how many people are employed, how many people are unemployed, and if there seems to be a dip in employment, less people hiring, and of course less people working, then uh, the president's able to make his case to the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell and say, "Hey, how about dropping interest rates?" That's the key right there, and I think that is the other part of this big, beautiful bill that we're not seeing. We know that it has a negative effect on the U.S. deficit. However, if the bill is going to go into effect, and I think it will be signed by tomorrow and that bill will become a law, let's face it, the other part of the equation becomes how do you refinance U.S. debt? And of course, if we have a lower interest rate, that we refinance at a lower interest rate, that automatically brings savings into the United States Treasury. So that's something else to take into consideration. Once again, I'm Brian. Welcome to this economic report. I'm glad you're here. You can see that I'm in my home studio. A question was asked. Rick fired away a question, and of course, somebody else had a question about, well, rights. And of course, tomorrow is the 4th of July here in the United States. And of course, we take a moment to pause and hopefully show gratitude for the people who stood up when it counted and stood together. As Ben Franklin said, we all hang together, or most assuredly, we were all hang separately. What a powerful statement is 56 people signed the Declaration of Independence. And when they did that, they really were making a statement about what the future of America was going to be at that moment in time, having no clue of what this nation would be like 249 years after declaring the Declaration of Independence. And of course, these people took a significant risk. I mean, everything they had, at least the last phrase of the Declaration of Independence says what? To each of us we pledge our lives, our fortune, and our sacred honor. That's a powerful statement, right? Everything they have for the freedom and creation of a new country. And we're going to be eternally grateful to these founders. There's no question about it that the Declaration of Independence really set the framework for other works to come after it as well. I'll give you an example. Geez, you take a look at the Texas War for Independence. What do they have? They cite the Declaration of Independence in Texas, why they were declaring their freedoms, right? Hey, during the women's rights movement, Seneca Falls Convention, what do? They cite the Declaration of Independence as the framework for, uh, uh, once again, the Declaration of Sentiments. So all those things really do work hand in hand. And without a doubt, the genius of the Declaration of Independence, really a powerful thing that a country was going to break away from its mother country. The colonies said, enough, king, enough to the parliament, enough of your rules, enough of your control over the colonies. And with that, with the stroke of a pen, they signed the Declaration and off they went. What's interesting, though, is you can say you're free, but boy, they had a war effort to fight. And maybe the war effort is really very a powerful place to pay some attention as well. Because what are you looking at then all of a sudden? You're looking at what's going to happen the next 7, 8 years fighting a revolutionary war against England. And you can say you're free, but that freedom's going to show up on the battlefield. And whether or not you're able to really earn your freedom and become a free country is a different story. And uh, lest I forget, we have a lot to be thankful for because the French helped us out. Of course, if you know anything about the history of the American Revolution, prior to the American Revolution, there was a French and Indian War. that took place. Hey, folks, I want to welcome you here. We talked big, beautiful Bill here at the very beginning. You have any questions? I respond to everything here in the comments section. So fire away. At least everything that is appropriate, I will respond to. And of course, a like and a subscribe does wonders for this channel. I appreciate that. If you have questions, fire away, or we're going to keep on talking about the French Indian War and, of course, how France came back and helped us later. But of course, a coffee break there in the meantime. So prior to the American Revolution, there was actually another event. There was a major rivalry here in North America. Hey, well, Irish, how are you today? Welcome. Glad to have you here at the Economic Report. Give me a thumbs up. Hit a subscribe. I'd love to have you join the channel. We're here. I think we're at 214 today. Boy, if we can go here and go to 215, 220, that would be amazing. And if you were part of that, we'd love to have you join us. Of course, I do have a daily episode that comes out that will show up right in your inbox if you're a subscriber. I do go live 3, 4, maybe 5 days a week if I can. And of course, occasionally I'll come up with a short. But once again, this is the Economic Report, and we're going on for maybe a short history leading up to the Declaration of Independence and the French helping us out, right? So there were French colonies in what was Canada, and there was British colonies here in what became the United States. And of course, over time, the French and the British, they never seemed to get along for a very long period of time. There's always some kind of an economic war going on, control of shipping trades, control of fur trades, control of who has relations with the Native Americans. So there was a war that took place. It went on uh, to 1763, called the 7 Years' War. And that really laid the foundation, believe it or not, for the American Revolution taking place. With that, the British government had excessive debt from that war, and after winning, they said that, well, hey, we're going to go ahead and we are going to pay for this war, and guess what, colonies? We're going to tax you as well to help pay for it. So that's kind of a take a look at, and of course, we know what happens from there. There's a big lead up to the American Revolution, of course, taxes, a Boston Massacre, intolerable acts, stamp acts, you name it. All kinds of stuff's going to be rolled out and have a significant impact. And of course, if you have any recollection of your history, maybe you're in school, maybe you're out of school, maybe you've been out of school for 50 years and just kind of go back and take a look at the history of the United States, there's no question about it that these are powerful moments. And once again, I'm so thankful to have a 4th of July here in the United States, and I'm so thankful for the opportunity to be an American. I do think it's a special place, and uh, we're lucky that this country started off the way that it did. Uh, Foxtrot Delta Tango. What rights do the alphabet people not have? Hmm. Good question. I've not given that a lot of thought. And, and of course, another person, USA. There we go. I'm glad to have you folks here. Any questions here in the economic report? I'd love to talk to you about those. But I do think the bill this could be our last 4th of July. Oh, I don't. I doubt that. I've never been a person to live in doom and gloom. The best days of this country are ahead of it. Put it that way. And I think it's probably the healthiest attitude to have. What makes the biggest difference in the world, of course, is your individual actions, your behaviors, and your efforts every single day to go up and make this the best country you possibly can, right? So I would say that the best days are ahead of it. I've kind of had that motto, and I'd much rather see the cup half full as opposed to half empty. And with that, God is in full control. Yeah, you know what? I think it's not necessarily a bad attitude, actually. At the end of the day, you do everything you possibly can and try to make this the best country possible. Live to the fullest extent you can your life. Make your biggest contribution, do good to each other. One of the things that I carry in life, I got to tell you, folks, one thing that I carry every single day with me is an attitude that you try to find the good in people as opposed to looking for the bad. It's a very, very helpful attitude. Uh, I try to smile, try to say hi to people, and you know what? If I can find good, that if I can if I can carry that attitude in practically everything I do, I think I can have a positive impact, right? And with that, I would much rather have that than going around looking for the wrong that people do. Because at the end of the day, I'm not I'm so perfect myself, right? That's kind of the attitude that we must carry. Carry a 911 is, huh? So doesn't matter anymore about left or right. Well, you might have a good point there. There's no question about it. The fact is that at the end of the day, we're all in this together. If you're in the United States, we're all in this together, and if you're in the Anglosphere, which a number of you are, I would have to say that we're still kind of all in this together. And the fact is that when you recognize the fact that my actions, my attitude affects everybody else, it's really a powerful place to be. Um, there's a English poet by the name of John Donne who said that no man is an island unto himself, and of course the idea is that we're all some way, shape, or form connected, right? And if we have that together, I think we're in good shape. Uh, my name's Brian here once again, and the fact is that I'd love to have you guys drop a comment where I can make something meaningful, a statement back to you. Could you respond to the comments in chat? Like and of course subscribe to this channel. I'm shooting for 20. Let's take a look here. 2020, I think today, if I'm not mistaken. So we'd be at 220 subs, which would be a good number here. And the other thing I would throw out there to you is the fact that I can provide our daily letter right to your inbox, and of course, it's a good powerful thing. Wow, we're all over the place today. A lot of energy inside this chat room today. And of course, we all started off with a big, beautiful bill, and it's the economic plan. It's going to be laid out here for the rest of the United States over the next 4 years, a plan to move the country forward, and of course, Lord willing, not move us backwards, right? Because I do think that the best days of the United States are ahead of it. Tomorrow, what do we do on the 4th of July? We take a few moments to recognize that the fact is that this whole country, we all need each other, and we are all in this together. And when we recognize the blessings and the liberties we have, that's a huge thing. I think that's part of what's being an American is, right? Moving your game forward. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an epic version of the live version of the economic report. You guys are absolutely amazing. Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe. And folks, I'm here to say that the best days of this country are ahead of it. Celebrate your 4th of July, have some watermelon, go to a parade, see some fireworks, but take a moment to give thanks for the people who helped make this thing happen. You guys are amazing, and I hope you've liked and subscribed. I'd love to have you engaged in our channel in the future. Have a great day.